We are the Pennsylvania Manufacturers Association.
We are the Pennsylvania Manufacturers Association.
Business in Pennsylvania.
And business in Pennsylvania is our business.
Governor, a state senator who also happens to be running for Congress, says he and some other
I'm glad you noted that.
I did. He's a political candidate for Congress. Says that he may, with some other folks, pay you a visit in the near future. This is Senator Dalen Leach, a leading proponent of legalization of medical marijuana. Actually, he'd legalize it all the way if he could. I believe
that's what he wants
his position.
To do. That's his goal.
But medical marijuana is what he's really focusing on right now when he's threatening a sit-in at your Capitol office until you agree to a meeting with him and some parents of kids who suffer from seizure disorders. Proponents of medical marijuana are trying to put the emphasis on these kids. First, anything to say about the sit-in threat?
No.
Okay. There was a sit-in a few years ago at the Capitol, and I believe policies were changed. Capitol Police are in charge of things like that. If someone were to try to sit in your office, they would be taken away, correct?
The Capitol Police will deal with it. It will not be our office. The Capitol Police will deal with it.
All right.
But you make the point. This didn't occur last month. It didn't occur the month before that. It occurs a few weeks out from an election. And I'm suspect of the timing. I will say that I personally have met with one family. My staff has met with a number of families. We are continuing to meet with them. We are continuing to monitor what the FDA is doing. And, I empathize with them 100%. As I said, if it were Liam, my grandson, I would not be able to make the decision that governors have to make. I would have to look to somebody else, look to the lieutenant governor to make decisions. I understand that passion, and I truly have empathy for everybody there. At the same time, we have to decide what is medical marijuana. Because if you recall, medical marijuana is in California, and it's smoking it, and it was supposed to be very, very limited. My understanding is it's not very limited, and it's turned into pretty much the recreational use of marijuana. And I have a great concern about that. And recent findings, Northwestern just issued a report about the detrimental effect of smoking marijuana, particularly in young people, on the development of the brain and development of memory. And I could go on and on. And Gary Tennis, the Secretary of the Office of Drugs, I forget exactly what we call it, who's doing a wonderful job in that, has a very similar position with me. Medical marijuana is a different story. We have to define medical marijuana. We have to have the studies conducted to make sure that there is true effect on that. And we're working to see in what way we can reach some middle ground on that.
Is there middle ground? I mean,
I don't know.
You've been steadfast on this, and I think it comes from the prosecutor, the cop's background, that, marijuana is a drug and it's illegal and you believe it should be. But is there a middle ground?
Well, we're going to take a look at what the FDA, first off, the FDA could say we're going to say it's fine, or the federal government could say we're going to take it off of Schedule 1, because that's where it is.
Well, the Attorney General has said that they're not going to limit the state's ability to do this, to make this decision.
What they're saying is we're not going to enforce. And the next Attorney General could say we're going to enforce. If the federal government and the Attorney General and the President believe this, then why don't they pass the legislation that takes it off the backs? This discretionary enforcement is not the way to go. Let's have the debate at the national level rather than at the state level. But I don't know why they don't want to do it. FDA is doing studies. If they say that medical marijuana is fine, if they need additional studies, we have some very good hospitals here in Pennsylvania. We'd be happy to work with them to create a class of individuals that, patients that could be part of a medical study.
This is an issue that normally you think, well, it's traditionally a Democrat issue, but it is gaining some traction on the Republican side, too. Another state senator, Republican Mike Fulmer, told us that he was called into your office recently and basically...
He wasn't called in. He asked to see us.
He said he felt like he was being called to the principal's office. That's the way he told it to us. Yeah, well, tell us a little bit about that.
We had a
meeting.
conversation with him. He had to understand my position. We tried to work with him. Now he has a personal position there. I certainly understand that. I empathize with that. But just as I said to everybody else, I believe we have to go about this in the appropriate way. If individuals, if we can get more studies done, that's what we should be doing. But we should know the effect, rather than a lot of people saying there's a clear effect. Tell me the doctors, the FDA have said that.